the state, and it's very impressive. So I waited until it was catching.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, it's not going to hurt that your name's attached.
Oh, it's such a treat. It's such, you know, because for me to come back here, which is, and I've always cited Portsmouth and the radio that I did here in the 80s as the time that I really embraced the idea of being a broadcaster. And they at WHEB gave me such freedom there to experience that. And everything that happened since really happened as a result of that. Television happened as a result of me being at that radio station. I got calls from WBZ and WCBB. Ended up spending years in Boston at BZ. So all of that happened because of here. So just from a career standpoint, if not from an emotional standpoint, Portsmouth is pivotal to me and important to me. And it's always a treat not only to be asked to come back, but to be greeted as warmly as I did. That's really special. Had I wanted to, people were buying me beers at this new British pub. I could have been completely hammered.
Just something I've waited for about 10 years to say here. I met you a long, long time
This could
ago.
be dangerous, yeah.
In a hotel, no?
What kind of
I was like 10 years ago, and you were in the lobby of Buckwood Creek Steakhouse waiting for a table or something,
Yeah.
and my mother harassed you endlessly. And I was incredibly embarrassed, and I kept saying, Mom, hey, Dad, it's Tom Bergeron. He's a person we want. And she just asked you every question except possibly if you could tap dance for her, so I just want to say, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. And I can't imagine she was anything other than warm and friendly, probably at your age, because parents always embarrass their kids, so that's part of what we do.
In my 20s.
But okay, all right. But yesterday I was on the air with Greg at HEB, and somebody called in to apologize for accidentally hitting me with a spitball at well, I forget what restaurant it was at, but oh, where was it? Yoke's. No, it wasn't Yoke's. It was
You find this like
oh, the Bratskeller. It was apparently at the Bratskeller. This woman was attempting to shoot a family member with a spitball, who wisely ducked and got me in the back of the neck. Now, I appreciated the fact that she felt like she had to apologize, but I can't imagine I thought it was anything other than funny then or flattering then. So don't worry, she's fine.
I just told that story before, and I said, if I ever see him again, and you're
Would it have been scary if I went, "You're the one"?
you're wrong, my way.
No, it was,
So can I quote you on
yeah,
the one?
can
I quote
yeah,
you
yes,
on your
scare
one?
the hell out of her. Tell her I went ballistic. I remember, how dare she?
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else?
I have two questions.
Yeah.
You've done so many different things. Is there like some event that you've hosted or whatever that's been your favorite? Would have been like your highlights? Because you've had such a diverse career, it
There was a
seems.
show that I did that some of you may have seen. It had sort of limited coverage because the network was young, on FX, called Breakfast Time, and it was on in '94 until '96. It was a cable show. It was set in an apartment in the Flatiron District of New York, and it was the most improvisational television experience I ever had, with an incredible group of people, some of whom have gone on to other things. Jeff Probst, who also worked on FX, hosts Survivor now, and Phil Kogan, who was part of our show, does The Amazing Race. And Orlando Jones was on FX. He's a very successful actor in films and TV. And it just was the most exciting creative experience I'd ever had. And to this day, that's true. I mean, Dancing with the Stars is wonderful because it's live, and I love live television, and there's so little of it. But Breakfast Time, as a pure experience, was and still is the best I've ever. I think it's the best work I've ever done too.
Oh, cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
My
You
second.
can see it on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, don't be surprised if I have brown hair. It's okay.
Who is this guy?
Who's that guy? But that was there. There are several compilation videos on YouTube if you type in my name.
Cool.
So you'll get a sense of it.
We'll check it out. My second question is, what is it about, you're kind of like one of the preeminent hosts in America, kind of, like Dick Clark, Ryan Seacrest, Tom Bergeron. What is it about hosting that, what drew you to hosting, and how did you get there?
Having no other marketable skills.
I got plenty of those.
Was important. It kind of narrowed my choices. I think one of the things that Ryan and I have in common is that we love working in a live environment, and for whatever reason, that scares most people, which makes it better for our careers because more people would rather not do it than do it, but we would rather do it live, and so I think that helps. And I just like the unpredictability of it. I love I'll go on that set Monday night, and we have however many million people watching, and I just love not knowing what's going to. I love not knowing if, like happened a few years ago, Marie Osmond is going to faint at my feet or something.
Whoa.
Something's going. As a matter of fact, and I told this story when I was doing an interview with WSCA today. She fainted. She passed out after doing a samba, and I had subsequently done a talk show she did, and some people thought she was faking. And I told her audience, I said, look, I was right there. I looked at her. I've never seen even an Osmond look that way. Yes.
You and I both worked with Edwin Johnson.
Oh my gosh, who got me started? He was the one that got me my first job.
Ed was just a dynamic.
Wonderful.
Really
Wonderful.
I worked at HAB in the early 80s.
All right, that was my first radio station.
And when I worked there, I did mornings. And one of the things that people would say was, you know who worked here before you?
Yeah.
Tom Bergeron.
Right. Did you have that small little studio?
Oh yeah, a little
Yeah.
studio with a bathroom that doesn't have any heated.
Well, it doesn't have any heat in it, and at the risk of oversharing, this isn't an embarrassing story for me, it's more for the late general manager.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes,
The guy
I
who was
do.
the general manager there.
Yes.
When so we know that studio, and you know the proximity of the bathroom to the studio. We both did mornings, and the general manager would come in, and he had his own bathroom, I think, somewhere else in the building.
Yeah, downstairs.
But he would use that one. And this guy needed fiber, I'm telling you. He would go in to this bathroom and just this horrible stuff would waft into the studio. You're trying to do a show, and your eyes are watering and your throat is. That's a terrible sense memory. I wish you hadn't even. But no, but Ed Johnson was an absolute sweetheart. Was a part-time newsman when I was in Haverhill High. He was an English teacher, public speaking. He got me the interview with that rather lactose intolerant general manager, and that's how I got my first broadcasting job, thanks to Ed.
Yeah, it was a great guy.
Great guy,
And
wonderful man.
when I worked with him, when he had during summer vacation, he'd fill in for other people.
Yeah.
He was the only guy doing it with eat a hamburger. Right?
I know, yeah. Hamburger,
There's nothing
cheeseburger.
on it.
I know, yeah. And he had this odd, when he would stand at a wall and just rub his spine,
Yes.
which got a little creepy after a while, but he would talk to you, and he'd have this low voice, and he'd be rubbing his spine at the corner of the wall.
Did he smoke a corn cob pipe?
He was smoking something, I know. He wasn't sharing. Anybody else?
I have a question from Twitter. One of our local reporters asked, do the dancers smell sweaty during talkback sessions? Do you clean your nose?
Well, sometimes they do, but in the case of all of our female dancers, they're so hot that it doesn't bother me at all. Sweaty works.
And where do you eat when the old hair landing?
Oh, I know. I hate that they close. I went, like I said, I went to that new place, new to me anyway, this British, what is it called? Do you know what it's called?
British Beer Company.
Yeah, British Beer Company, which so much construction has happened here. So many new places are springing up. So I thought I'd try one of the new places. But I'll go to the Orr House, the brass skeller, once the spitball quotient is down. But there are a number of places. The press room I used to go to. I think after I did my last radio show, a group of us went to the press room back in '83. I'm trying to find these new places too. Hello, over there, hiding in the Anybody else? This is good, no matter questions.
I have one for you.
Yes.
I was rooting for Bill Nye this year.
I know.
What a cool guy.
I know.
I want to know who if you had any like favorites, or not favorites, but most interesting guests.
Well, Bill was great. I've known Bill from other stuff that we had done together, and he's a wonderful guy, a horrible dancer, but a wonderful guy. And of course, then he had that injury, and he had to immobilize his leg and do the robot dance, which, what is that?
That's right, it's hard now.
But Bill Nye, my daughter, my youngest daughter, who, she's used to me being on TV and radio and all that stuff over the years, so she doesn't really watch shows that I do. But that chick, because of Bill Nye, she wanted to watch it because they grew up with it.
Sure.
And that got, I think his first dance, which I think he did 3 maybe, or 2, his first one got like 3 million YouTube hits before we were on the next week, just because of the unique opportunity to see Bill Nye the Science Guy attempt.
Oh, it sucked me right in too.
Yeah.
Same thing, bro.
Yeah, but we've had some incredible, Valerie Harper, who back in March had been diagnosed with a form of cancer and given a very dire prognosis of 3 to 6 months. And she's been she comes close to saying it's in remission, but I can understand why she might be a bit hesitant. But they're obviously keeping a close watch on things. She, until recently, was on the show. She had knee and hip problems that had nothing to do really with the cancer, but she's just an amazing story of power of positive thinking, certainly. But we've got a really good cast, and we're about halfway through this season.
Yeah.
So we'll go until I think the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and then pack up the glitter dome until the spring. Yeah, the spray tan machine goes away. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Question
Yes.
too about this. I know that Julianne Hough has been getting, the blame for Christina and Mark's kind of early absence.
Oh,
from the
because
show.
she made that
Because
comment?
she made the comment. What do you have
I
anything
think
to say
that's
about
ridiculous. I think,
So
I think that she has danced with Mark. I've watched Mark. I get it. I know exactly why she said that. I'm very fond of Mark, but he can showboat a bit, and she knows firsthand. That was a compliment to Christina, really. What she was saying is, having danced with Mark, knowing how difficult it is to take the spotlight away from Mark, you did it. You did a great job. So I would think that, conversely, it should have helped her.
I think it's just his face, his reaction to it surprised everybody, and then everyone thought it was a much bigger deal than it was.
Yeah, look, I think that the cold hard fact with them was they weren't getting the viewer votes. And it's easy to cast blame. I can understand they were shocked to be voted off. I was kind of surprised they were voted off as well. But that often happens on a show, that you can be technically very proficient, you can do really artistic performances, but 50% of how this show works is the viewer votes, and if you don't get those, you can be Baryshnikov, but you're on the bus home.
Do you have an idea of who you think will be in the top 3?
I'm so bad at that, I really am, and that's not a dodge, I'm just really bad at that. Now, you look like you have a question.
Do you have a question?
Because let me tell you, these adults, they're all dying here with the questions, so I'm turning to you. Save this press conference. I can tell something is occurring to you. What's your name?
Clay.
Okay, you got that right? Clay? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Just ask the first thing.
Nothing.
Uh,
I used to.
No, you watch America. Do you ever watch America's Funniest Videos?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Not really.
Not really. Did you just come in here for the pizza?
He's actually in a short film.
Oh, you're in a short film?
Yeah.
Really?
Native Boy.
Oh, no kidding. Well, congratulations.
He's a big star himself.
All right.
Maybe he'll
You
come
want
back.
I'm pretty much done here. Anybody else?
I have one last
Yes,
question,
okay.
Tom, because you've got yourself into a lot of